Hi friends, welcome back to Frosty Eye Candy. So I'm going to jump straight in and show you the dried and resined results. Apologies for the reflection of the light ring. We are getting rid of that soon with a nice diffuser, but it does give us a really nice light to see those fantastic pigments there, just gloriously singing together on a nice black background. Now this is the same color palette as the previous video, the 4 TLPs, but on a black pillow. I wanted to try them on a black pillow to see how they'd work, and just you can see how they're working. Look at that one, just fantastic. So the colors, let's just run through them quickly again. It was TLP Brulee, and then TLP Agapanthus, and then TLP Show Pony, and the last one is Whitehaven. And on this piece, as you can see, I used gold as the cell activator, and that one is Rust-Oleum Gold Mine. Okay then friends, so that's enough chitty chat from me to get the camera pointing down, and we'll get on with painting. Okay then my friends, I think the first thing I should tell you is this is a cradle, wooden cradle, and it's 8 by 10 inches. And that's tricorn black from Sherwin-Williams Colour to Go, and I guess I put down around about maybe 3 or 4 ounces. So that's the first one we're putting down. That's the beautiful Interference Orange, the new one by TLP, and this one's called Brulee. And here we go, just adding those nice thin lines of pigment so we can modify them later. And I can show you how we're modifying Made Easy. So this was a new one from TLP as well. This is Agapanthus, absolutely gorgeous light purple lavender colour with a beautiful shimmer to it. It really is a beauty. And as you can see, just over intersecting those circles, the extra lines for modification. You can do them line for line, or I like to overlap them a little because it makes for interest when we modify them later. And here's another one, new one from TLP. This one is Show Pony. As you can see, it's aptly named because it's just this glorious, riotous bright pink, again with a gorgeous shimmer to it. It's really quite beautiful. So you see again guys, just adding the thin lines in almost in a pattern as such, but I like overlapping them this way, as I've mentioned, just because it adds extra interest when we go to modify them later. And here's the last one we're putting down guys. This is Whitehaven by TLP. It's an interference very light gold, or an interference white almost, I want to say, but again in this color palette just works so well and is a great success. So there you go, just showing you the swiping tool I'm going to use guys. It's the large knife, but it's actually the smaller of the two that are shaped this way. And I'm using the sheleeart recipe for my cell activator of Australian Floetrol and Amsterdam paint. If you'd like to know what sheleeart is, it's an online course. Please follow the web address at the bottom of the screen right now. I even have a 15% off discount code, which I will now put up on the screen. Please feel free to use and share this code as much as you like, my friends. So in we go with the Goldmine Rust-Oleum cell activator. Now I did put it on quite thick, a little too thick you could argue, and I have mixed this Rust-Oleum Goldmine up cell activator, mixed it a little thick. Yes, as you can see me tapping my wrist, we have to wait for it to work. After more tests with the Goldmine as the cell activator, I feel if you mix it a little thinner, so rather than the 3 to 4 to 1 of the Australian Floetrol and Amsterdam paint, I mix it up around about in between 2 to 3 to 1. But as you can see, the first little cells are popping up, and in we go for a super slow-mo, my friends, and this is where it's modifications made easy. I've really slowed the film down so you can really see exactly how I modify. And I figure it, as it's much slower, it's going to be much easier for you to follow the movements of my hand, and hopefully this video will make modifications easy for you. But there we go, that's an absolute gorgeous little swirl we have there. I'm just going to add a little bit more modifications to the rest of the piece, just make it a little more pleasing. And while we're waiting for me to do that, I would love to tell you about our Facebook group. If you're not already part of the Acrylic Crazy Train, please search us out on Facebook, the Acrylic Crazy Train. It's a safe space for beginners to share their arts without fear of ridicule or anything like that, in a safe environment, and with nothing but helpful people, only willing to help you and wait for you to succeed. Very happy to see you succeed. Sorry for getting my words crossed there, my friends. Anyway, as you can see, the cell activator has started to work now. It started to sink through the colours, just helping it a little bit with a straw and giving it a little blow. And as I just said though, I'm now mixing it up a little thinner, and it works an absolute treat. So those are the last modifications, friends. And we're going to go, a couple of bubbles, pop. Let's get rid of those little suckers. And now we're going to go out for the main view. And here we go. I'll explain what I'm doing here for those that are watching for the first time and new to acrylic pouring. It's called wetting your edges. Some artists do it, some don't. Some say it's not essential, and I say I like to do it because I feel that if we wet the edges of the canvas or whatever we're actually using with the pillow paint, and we don't spin too fast, we get the centrifugal force of the spinning to allow the paint to meet the edge of the canvas and then roll down nicely over it onto my spinner board and my fluidart silicone mat, as you can see right there. I had something to do with the design, and they were very kind enough to send me a couple of their new mats. But in we go for the first spin. As you can see, friends, quite fast, leaving it in real time, and I like leaving my pieces spinning just for a little longer than usual, just to again give the paint a chance to meet the edge of the canvas and flow over the edge nicely. But there we go, not looking too bad. Nice. And I didn't notice when I was just testing the movement of the piece that it has actually slipped a little bit off center of my spinner, as you can see. And this isn't the worst thing in the world, because now, as you can see, the main middle part that is spinning is my modification, and that's the bit we really wanted to keep, because that's the whole point of the exercise. So in we go for a nice close-up, nice 360. Look at those pigments together. I knew they would be riotous, but I didn't know they were going to work quite so beautifully together like this. So again, just checking for some movement. And in we go for the second spin. Oh, no, yes, this is what I'm doing. I'm just picking up little bits of the pillow paint and wetting the edges even more, just to allow the paint, or just to help the paint flow over the edges of my canvas here, or my cradle. And we get a nice covering of paint over the edges too. I know a lot of artists just mask and tape up the edges of their canvas, so they're only painting on the front, and that's one thing that you can do. But I usually only do that on a deep edge canvas or a deep edge cradle. These are thin, and just with a little bit of help, as I'm doing now, wetting the edges even more, the paint flows easily over the edges of these thin canvas or cradles. But yeah, those modifications came out really quite well, and they're holding their structure beautifully. And as you can see from the dried and resin results at the beginning of the video, it dried beautifully and perfectly, and the main focus being the modifications here were the main focus of the piece, and I was very, very happy with how it came out. So while we're just waiting for me to finish doing these last little bits, there we are. I'd love to tell you about our Facebook group. I believe I've already mentioned it once, but I shall mention it again. Our Facebook group, The Acrylic Crazy Train, has a Sunday Acrylic Crazy Train where The Joy of Pouring, my show at 2 p.m. PST, kicks it all off, and we go for a global fluid art journey around the world every Saturday from 2 p.m. PST. So there you go, my friends. That was a nice little close-up of the piece. And I'm holding it up again nice and close, trying to get the light to give us a nice show from the pigments here. And I think it's working quite well. Looks very pretty indeed. Oops, apologies for bumping the camera, friends. So here we go with a nice close-up of the piece the other way for you. Those modifications just looking fantastic. And hopefully with that slow-mo of my modifications, it's helped you guys to see exactly how I do them. And hopefully you'll be able to learn and practice and produce modifications like this for yourselves. So there we go with those beautiful frosty mods. So thank you so much for joining us, my friends. Please like, share and subscribe. Please visit my Facebook shop if you like what you see here. And as always, happy pouring.